Alrighty, hi everyone. This is going to be our week 8 exercise 9 demo since we're not meeting in person this week. So go ahead and navigate in Canvas to your modules, week 8. This is our exercise 9, starting our tiny house. This is going to be the start of our final project. So we'll start a new file today, but then after today, we're just going to keep on working in this same file. So make sure when you come to class that you have this file ready so that we can keep on building on it. So it's going to be very similar to last week in how we used an AutoCAD file to start creating walls, floors, roofs, openings for doors and windows. But we're also going to get to model some stairs today, and we're going to learn about tags, which are basically like layers if you're more familiar with AutoCAD. A few helpful notes before we get started. Please be using your groups and components so that you can keep geometry isolated, and it'll be much easier to go back and fix things if everything's not stuck together. So go ahead and set yourself up for success here at the very beginning. Use those groups and components. Use your tags. Again, we're going to learn how to use those today, but you'll see how they're helpful for you to keep your model organized, and you can turn off and on different pieces of geometry to help you see better as you continue to model. And then remember, we've been playing with our view styles, different things that can help you see your model in a different way, maybe that X-ray mode, or maybe the color edge settings, color by axis, so that you can make sure that you're modeling nice and parallel to the axes. So just remember all those tools that we've learned so far. Step number 1, go ahead and save this CAD plan to your computer, and then we're going to import it into a new SketchUp file. We'll import with the units as inches under that options button before you import. That might not necessarily always be the case. It's probably something to do with the way I've modeled it in CAD. I'm not the best at CAD. So it might not always be inches, but for today's purposes, it will be inches. And then you'll notice that the tag from the AutoCAD file is going to be imported into SketchUp, because remember, whenever you import CAD to SketchUp, all of its layers and data and all that good stuff comes into SketchUp. So we'll go ahead and notice that. So download this file, and then we're going to get it imported into our SketchUp file. I need to open SketchUp. Just a quick note, I'm on SketchUp 2021 just because I have not personally purchased 2024. So it should be very similar, all of the tools and things like that that we're going to learn today, but just the interface is going to look a little bit different, so I apologize for that, but it shouldn't set you back. Let's see here, went to my other screen. There it is. Okay, so get your new file opened, get rid of my lady, and I'm going to go up to File and Import. Navigate to wherever that CAD file downloaded. It probably went to your downloads folder, or maybe onto your desktop. Mine's right here, and hit this options button before you import. Just make sure that the scale units is set to inches. Something else of note, keep preserve drawing origin unchecked. If that is checked, it'll default to the origin of whatever the AutoCAD file was. But if you keep it unchecked, it'll automatically come imported into SketchUp's origin. And that's what we would prefer. We want to keep geometry as close to the origin as possible. So keep that unchecked. Don't worry about all this stuff. Hit OK and import. Tells you what's being imported, anything related to layers, arcs, lines, polylines. Tells you what's being ignored, any blocks, text, dimensions, that sort of thing. SketchUp is not able to read those things. So hit close, and then here we see our file has been imported. And I mentioned any layers are going to be imported. So in your default tray, you have a panel called tags. If you don't see that, go up to Window, hover over Default Tray, and make sure that tags is checked. So this Tiny House AutoCAD, that's a new layer that was imported as we brought this AutoCAD file in. Let's look at tags here for just a second. So you've got tags just like layers. So you'll have your name of your tag. This little eyeball determines if things are visible or not. So right now, this AutoCAD file I brought in is on this Tiny House AutoCAD layer. So if I just hit that little eyeball, it disappears. It's been turned off. So that can be helpful, and we'll continue to do that throughout today's lesson of turning layers or tags on and off. Just to help us get into our model a little bit better and turn off things that are in our way. Each tag automatically gets assigned a color. You can change that color if you'd like. If you click on that color button, this will come up. You can choose different colors. We can take a look at what exactly that does later. You can also change the line type of your, hello, doesn't like that. You can change the line type of your layer or your tag. Sorry, I get layers and tags, those two words mixed up all the time. Just know if I do say layer, I mean tag. You can click on that and change the line style if you'd like. And then finally, this little pencil determines which tag is the active tag. So by default, untagged, this untagged tag comes in by default, and it's always the active tag, and that's shown by this little pencil here. You can change the active tag by double clicking. There it goes. You have to double click near that little, where that pencil column is. If you double click there, the pencil will move locations, and that lets you know that that is now the active tag. So anything that I model from here on out is going to be on that Tiny House AutoCAD tag. A lot of people recommend, I think the textbook also recommends to stay on untagged as your active tag and then just move geometry to the tag that you want it. I think that might be because just so that you don't accidentally end up modeling a bunch of geometry on a tag that you don't want it to necessarily be on. So a lot of people recommend, just for model organization, to keep your active tag as untagged, and then we can move geometry to the tag that we want it on. And I'll show you how to move it to a different tag. But right now, let's go back to our assignment. I'm going to move that over to my other screen. So we've imported our Tiny House CAD. Step number 2, we're going to create 2 new tags called CAD Level 1 and CAD Level 2. So to create a new tag, we hit this little plus button under the tags panel. Go ahead and give those names. So we have one that's CAD Level 1. And just hit enter to finish that name. And I'll add a second one called CAD Level 2. Okay, and then we're going to explode the CAD import. So this came in as just one component, you can see. We're going to explode those because we want to separate our first floor from our second floor. So I'm going to right click and hit explode. And then group the first and second floors individually. So I'm going to grab this entire first floor here, right click and make a group. And then I'm going to grab all of this second floor geometry, right click, and make a group. So now I've got a group for my first floor and a group for my second floor. We're going to place the first floor group on the CAD Level 1 tag. So how we do that, we select that group for our first floor, come up to your entity info, and it tells you what tag it's on. So currently that group is on the untagged tag because that was our default active tag. So since we created that group with the untagged tag active, that's where it went to automatically. So we can just quickly change that by clicking this drop down, and that gives you the option to which tag you'd like to move it to. And I want this one on my CAD Level 1 tag, and now it's there. So if I turn off my CAD level 1, it disappeared. Nice. So we'll do that to the second floor as well. Select that group in the entity info, change the tag to CAD level 2. Just double check there. Yep, we did that right. Okay, and then we're going to stack the two floor plans together at the origin. So my first floor plan is already nicely at the origin. So I'm going to move my second floor group to stack over that first floor. So I'll select that group, hit M on my keyboard for move, and I'm going to grab this top right corner, and we should be able to just move that straight over to the left and stack that right on top of the first floor. And then we're going to move the first floor 1 foot above the ground plane and the second floor 9 feet above the first. So I'll grab my first floor. You can double check here. It is my group, my level 1 that I've selected. M for move. I'm going to move that up along the blue axis 1 foot. Enter. Okay. And then I'll grab my second floor, that other group, level 2, and we're going to move it 9 foot above the first floor, so that's 10 foot total from where it currently is. So I'll go ahead and hit M for move and move that guy up along the blue axis, a total of 10 feet. We can double check here with my tape measure. This first floor is indeed 1 foot above the origin point, and my second floor 9 feet above my first. Perfect. Okay, that takes us to step number 3. We'll create our first floor slab 1 foot thick. So as I'm working with my first floor, this second floor might start to get in your way. Well, since we've placed it on its own tag, I can just turn off that tag, and now I can see my first floor better. I can work with it a little bit better without that second floor getting in my way. So we'll create a rectangle over the entire area of the first floor and push-pull that surface down 1 foot. So I'll hit R on my keyboard for the rectangle tool and create a rectangle all the way across. That creates me a surface, and I'll push-pull P on my keyboard, that surface down 1 foot. And so the bottom of that floor slab should now be at the origin on the ground plane. We're going to group this extrusion. We want to keep all of our geometry nice and separated from each other. So you can go ahead and triple click that to grab everything. It's not going to grab your AutoCAD file because that's already in its own group, so it's already isolated. So then I'll right click and make a group. And here's another important thing about tags. If I double click into here, I can have all of my geometry within a group on a separate tag than the group itself. And so I think that the textbook might recommend here keeping all of the geometry on untagged, and then the group, just move the group to whatever tag you want it to. I'm not really sure if it'll make a big difference for you. You could move all of this geometry to whatever tag we're going to move it to, and then also the group. But just know that geometry can be on a different group on a different tag than the group that it's in. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave everything on untagged. And again, since I've got my little pencil on the active untagged, it'll automatically be placed on untagged. So then just the group itself, I'm going to change. Oh, I need to create a new tag for it first. What does my assignment say? A new tag called first floor. So I'm going to hit that plus sign, first floor, and I'll move my group to that first floor tag. And see, whenever I turn that off, everything gets turned off, even though the geometry inside of the group is on untagged and untagged is turned on, because the overall group was on my first floor tag, everything turned off. So that might get a little bit confusing, but that's why I'm moving the group definitely to the tag that I want it, because if I turn off the groups tag, it'll all turn off. Let's see here, what is next? We're going to copy the first floor slab up 9 feet to create our second floor slab. So I'll grab that group, M for move, click Control for copy, see that plus sign come up near your cursor, and we're going to move this up along the blue axis by 9 feet. Enter. Let's turn my level 2 CAD plan back on. Yep, those are nice and flush with each other. And so now we're going to modify this second floor group so that it covers just the loft area. This area here is going to be open to below. We get a nice 2-height space for our living area. And then we're also going to make this cover up above the bathroom. So let's go back to, this is where that PDF plans might be nice. So the floor that we're creating is going to cover this loft area as well as be this lower roof area. We want this to be open to below here, and we also don't want to be occupying the wall space. We'll see later on that we don't want those two fighting for the same spot. So with my second floor group, I'm going to first, I'll go ahead and create another tag for my second floor so that I can keep those two kind of separated from each other, turn on and off different floors that I'd like. So I'm going to move that group to my second floor. And then I'll double click into this group to open up its editing box. And I'm going to use the push-pull tool to start to move these edges to the extents that I want. So I'm going to line up this edge with the inside face of this wall here. And I'm going to move this back portion to the inside of this wall. I'm going to hold off on the lower roof for right now, because it might start to get a little bit confusing. So let's just work on the loft area for right now. Let's move these edges so that they don't take up the wall space. Align there. Just hover over your mouse to align it to edges or different geometry, so we can be nice and precise with where those are located. And then I also want to get rid of this area here so that I've got room for my stairs later on. So we just need to separate this floor surface into 2 separate surfaces using my line tool. I'm going to just trace over these areas here so that this becomes a separate surface that I can then push-pull down and get rid of it so that I have space for my stairs. All right. Let's see if we can go ahead and create that lower roof now. I'm going to double click back into this. And I think I'll go ahead and create a guideline. Use your tape measure tool for that. I'm going to create a guideline that's parallel to this edge of my floor slab. So I'm going to click on this edge here. And then my lower roof, I'm holding down Shift so that that stays on the red axis here. And then I'm going to hover my cursor over the inside face of this exterior wall that's visible here on the first floor. Go ahead and create that guideline there so that I can then trace over it with my line tool, find that intersection, trace it down. And then now this surface over here is what's going to become that roof. So I'll click on that guy and align it to the inside face of that exterior wall down on the bottom. Okay, should have something that looks kind of like that. I'll go ahead and exit that group. And where are we now? We're on step number 4. So now we're going to create the exterior walls by drafting over the exterior wall lines of the AutoCAD file. So as Chrissy found last week, shout out to Chrissy, you can hide your AutoCAD file and then just go up to view and turn on hidden geometry, hidden objects so that the AutoCAD file appears dashed. And then it's going to be easier to see what you're drafting over because your lines will be solid, whereas the AutoCAD lines will be dashed. So first, I'm going to go ahead and turn off this second floor geometry. So I'm going to turn off both the floor that I created as well as the CAD level 2 so that I'm working with the first floor here. And then I'm going to select my AutoCAD file. I wonder if also we could do the line style, make it dashed. Nope, I didn't like that. Well, you know what, I wonder if it's because it's only the group that's on level 2. The lines inside of this group are still on that tiny house AutoCAD. See, that's where it can get confusing if you've got geometry on a different layer than the group. So let's see if I can turn this tiny house AutoCAD line to more of that dashed. There we go. Now that's dashed. Or you could have, select and hit hide, and then just turn on your hidden geometry, hidden objects, and make it look dashed as well. Whatever works better for you. We'll go ahead and start drafting our exterior walls. Hit L on my keyboard for the line tool. And we'll start drafting along these walls. Feel free to use the PDF if that's helpful to see what's an exterior wall. Just going to trace all along here and see now my lines that I've created are solid. Don't forget the exterior face as well. Don't be scared to get in real close. Scroll yourself in so that we can get nice and accurate to those intersections. Drafting all along, ignoring doors and windows right now, just like we did last week. Okay, so now at this point I've got a surface here. Let me turn off my first floor group. So I've got a surface here for the walls, and then it also did create that inner surface just because we created a closed loop. We can go ahead and get rid of that one because we've already got a floor made. So then this one here, let's go ahead and create our new tag. Let's see here, called exterior walls. Oops. And then I'll double click on that surface I created to grab the surface and all of its edges. I'm going to right click and make a group. And then I'm going to move that group to that exterior walls tag that I just created. Alrighty, and then for the height of the walls, this might get a little bit confusing here. So this main portion of the house, we're going to make these walls 19 feet tall from where it is right now. It'll be 20 foot total from the origin ground plane to the top, but since our first floor is 1 foot above the ground plane, these walls are going to be 19 feet tall. And then this back section, those walls are going to be 10 feet tall because we only have just the bathroom and the laundry area back here on the first floor. There's nothing up above it on the second floor. So I'm going to double click into my exterior walls group and just start to make some lines so that I can separate those surfaces. We can make sure that this is aligned if you hover over that endpoint and then just slowly start to move your cursor across. That'll help you kind of maintain that alignment there. So now I've got this back surface separated from my front surface. So this front one, those are going to be 19 feet tall, so I'll push pull that up 19 feet. And my back portion here, I'll push pull 10 feet. You might notice some extra lines being created. That's just because we had that intersection there, so sometimes SketchUp pulls that up with it as well. You can just go ahead and erase that. And then, oops, there's a couple of extra ones, just so that we get nice continuous surfaces. Oops, I just got out of my group. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this portion all the way across so that we can enclose our house. So just create a line there to separate those two surfaces and push pull this top portion across to the other side. Again, feel free to erase any extra lines that are created. And then let's take a look. If I turn my second floor back on, we've still got a gap here. So I'm going to maneuver myself in here, and I want to pull this portion down to meet the second floor roof area so that we don't have a gap in our wall. So I'll go back into, oh, I'm already in my wall group. So I'll create a line across here so that I can push pull this surface down to meet that second floor. Oops, I got lost. No worries, I'll hit that zoom extents button. There we go, and now that's closed off. That looks better. Okay, and that brings us to step number 5. We'll create the interior walls now. We're just going to focus on the first floor, and those walls will be 8 foot tall so that they meet the underside of your second floor. So I'll go ahead and create a new tag now called interior walls. And then it might be helpful here, I'm going to turn my first floor back on. You know, it's pretty hard to get in there and see the things that I need to model. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my exterior wall tag and also this second floor so that there's nothing obstructing my view. And we'll get started with the interior walls. L on your keyboard for the line tool, and just start tracing over these lines here. Again, we're ignoring doors and window openings at this point. Just focus on getting the walls in here. So there's that portion, enclosing the bedroom. There's a little wall here to separate the laundry space. And again, you can reference that plans PDF to see what I'm talking about. And then we're also going to create this one back here to separate the bathroom area. So we should have a surface created here, here, and here. We'll go ahead and create our group. So double click on each of those surfaces, hold down Control so that we can add to our selection, grab those surfaces and all of their edges, right click and make a group. And then I'm going to move that group to my interior walls tag that I created. And then double click into that interior walls group so that we can edit it. We will push pull P on your keyboard each of those up 8 feet. And I believe we learned last week, if we just double click those other surfaces, SketchUp basically redoes the same command. So since we just extruded this 8 feet up, if we just double click those other ones, they'll also match that 8 feet. And then just to double check here, I'm going to turn on my second floor again to make sure, yep, those did get at the right height, just to the underside of that second floor. Click away from my interior walls group. Let's see here, did I miss anything? Nope. Awesome, so we're on step number 6. We're going to create the stairs. I'm going to go ahead and leave my exterior walls turned off so that I can navigate over here and see these stairs better. So there are a total of 8 stair treads here, and they're each going to be 1 foot tall. So we'll draw a vertical line at the base of the stairs in this bottom right corner here. I'm going to draw a vertical line that is 8 feet tall. So be on that blue axis, 8 feet. And I'm just going to 8 feet because I don't really need to create that 9th stair. Our floor slab is already going to take care of that 9th stair. You'll see that as we model the stairs. So just 8 feet. And then here's a new little tool. You can divide a line into equal segments by just right-clicking that line, hit divide. As you start to move your cursor up and down along that line, you'll see different points being created. So we want 8 equal segments. You can also just type 8, enter, and it should divide that line into 8 segments. They're all equal, so ours are going to be 1 foot since our line is 8 feet tall. Okay, so then we're going to use inference matching to determine the tread of the stairs and start to model just the rise and run of the stairs. So this bottom line can start out as my initial line here, and then I'm going to use my line tool. I'm going to click on that top end point of this bottom segment, draw along the green axis, and I'm going to hold down shift so that I stay locked onto that green axis. And then to find the depth of my first stair tread, I'm just going to hover my keyboard over the line of where that second stair starts. Just find that intersection and click there. And then we'll do the next stair riser. Go up the blue axis, hold down shift, and along my line here, I might need to orbit myself a bit. All right, let me find that blue axis again, hold down shift, and let me find that endpoint of that second segment here. Clicked there, and we're just basically going to repeat that along the green, find the depth of that stair tread, up along the blue. There we go. You could keep on doing it in this way, or if you wanted to, you can grab a rise and a run and just copy each of those. You have to click Control each time to keep on copying. Make sure you're finding those endpoints. Okay, and that gets me to my 8 feet. I want one more run here. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a surface there, so I need a closed loop. So I'm going to come down to my first floor and across to where I started. Now I've got a nice surface created here. I'll go ahead and just remove These segments here, I don't need them anymore. Grab all of them and delete. And then with this surface here, let's go ahead and create a new tag called stairs. And I'll double click this surface to grab the surface and its edges. Right click, make a group, and move that group to my new stairs tag. Then I'm going to double click into that group and push pull this surface across to the edge of those stairs. Nice. See that second floor is acting as our final stair there, so we didn't need to create that ninth one. Okay, step number 7. We're going to modify any interior walls that extend further to enclose the loft. So right now, I'm going to turn my exterior walls back on. That loft is pretty scary. I wouldn't want to be up there. We need some sort of wall to enclose that space. And so we're just going to keep on working with our interior walls group that we've already created and just extend certain portions of this wall up and over to fully enclose this loft. So I'm going to double click into my interior walls group. And right now, if I just try and push pull this surface, you'll see the whole thing is coming up, all of those walls, because it's a piece of isolated geometry right now. It doesn't talk to the floor. So I just need to create a couple of lines to separate this small area here that I want to keep on extending. So I'm going to create a line. Again, I'm within that interior walls group. I'll create a line here at the edge of that stair. And around to the front, I'll create a line across this wall here. So now if I try and push pull that surface, it's just that portion that's being pulled up. The rest of the walls are going to stay down to just be for the first floor. So we want these to be 3 foot above the second floor. Well, if the second floor is already a foot thick, so if I extrude it 1 foot to be flush with the top of the second floor, then I'll go ahead and extrude an additional 3 feet, or you could have just extruded it a total of 4 feet. Okay, and then we're still missing a portion here, so I'll just navigate over to this side of the wall. And again, I don't want that entire, I don't want that entire surface. So I'm going to go ahead and create a line here at the base of the second floor across so that I can just push pull this portion across and meet the edge of that floor. So now we're nice and enclosed without interrupting anything going on the first floor. Go ahead and exit out of that group by clicking away. Oops, let me delete that guideline too. Okay, see, my guideline is inside of a group. See how there's more things turning blue telling me that they're selected. So I created this guideline inside of my second floor group, it seems. It doesn't matter if I just went up to edit and delete all guides. That's an easy way to do it. Otherwise, I would need to double click into that group and delete the guideline. So just be mindful if your guideline ended up inside of a group. You don't want to delete the entire group. Okay, step number 8. We're going to create masses and overhangs for the front elevation referencing the PDF for dimensions. So go ahead and take a look at your elevations PDF here. So what we're going to be working on is creating some of these masses that you see here, as well as this little overhang. So first of all, in my exterior walls, this portion came all the way up to the 19 feet total. Well, if I look at my PDF, that's not necessarily what I wanted. I wanted it to stop right at the base of the second floor. So no problem, we can fix that. Let's go back to SketchUp, double click into your exterior wall group, and we're just going to draw a line here to separate that surface from the rest of my walls. So then I can just push pull this guy. Oops, hello. Push pull that one flush with the second floor. So I'm just going to hover over the face of my second floor here to align it there, and I can click, and now it came back down. Again, you might have some extra lines created. Feel free to erase that. So the top of that is now where I want it. Let's look at my PDF again. I want it to extend over, and it looks like it's going to align with the edge of this wall here. We haven't created that wall yet, but that's okay. We can use the AutoCAD file to reference where that wall is going to be. And it looks like this overhang is 6 inches thick. All right, so let's navigate ourselves over to kind of the inside face of this here. A couple ways that you could get a line 6 inches below here. You could create a guideline 6 inches below and trace that. Or I'm going to Control Z just to undo that. I could also copy this line. Oops, M Control, just copy that line 6 inches down. Either way, that's going to get you two separate surfaces here. So I'm going to push pull that across, and it's going to be flush with this edge here of this little planter wall that we'll eventually create. So go ahead and just align your cursor to that edge and click to finish. Okay, so now let's look at the mast that's going to extend across here. Back to my PDF. This area here looks like it's 3 feet deep, and it's going to extend the entire length of the front of the house. So we'll do similar, get to the inside face of this wall, and I'm just gonna, oops, M for move, Control for copy, copy that down 3 feet, and extrude this top surface all the way across, aligned to this right edge of the walls. Erase any extra line that was created so we have one nice long surface. Kind of looks like a letter G at the top here, or at the front of the house. Let's see here. So be sure you were inside of your exterior wall group to make those modifications. That gets us to step number 9. We'll create a roof over this main portion of the house. The roof's going to be 1 foot thick, and the top of it will be 1 foot below the top of the walls. So 1 foot below this top surface here, create some little parapet walls similar to what we have down here. So I'm not inside my wall group anymore. I'm back in kind of main model space. I'll go ahead and create a new tag called roof. And then I'm going to create a rectangle with R on my keyboard from this back inside corner to this front inside corner to create a surface across that space. I'll double click that surface to grab the surface and its edges, right click and make a group, move that group to your roof tag. Okay, again, it's a little bit difficult for me to see here, so I'm going to turn off my exterior walls, double click into my roof group to push pull it down 1 foot. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and turn those walls back on. We still want to move this roof group down 1 foot. Use your move tool to move it down 1 foot. So you've got 1 foot from the top surface of the walls, and then your roof is also 1 foot thick. Nice, now everything is good and enclosed. Step number 10. We're going to, oops, I missed a step as part of number 8. When we created the masses and overhangs for the front elevation, the assignment also says to create the garden and planter walls. So if I look back at the plans PDF, we're going to create these little planter walls here, as well as the back garden walls. And if I look at my elevations, it looks like the planter walls are 6 inches above the first floor. And if I go to the back elevation, looks like they're also, yep, 6 inches above the first floor. Awesome. So we'll go back into our wall, exterior wall group for that. Double click. And I'm just going to trace over those planter walls. Okay, get rid of that middle surface there. We don't want that, just the wall surface. Push-pull that up 6 inches. And erase any extra lines created. Let's orbit around to the back. Do the same thing for these back garden walls. Trace over those lines. And get rid of that middle surface. Push-pull those walls up 6 inches. Erase the extra lines. Oops, there it goes. Okay. Now then, back to step number 10. We'll create the front stair. So there is a little stair right here. So we're just going to get this portion to be 6 inches lower, so there's a little bit more of a gradual step up to the front door. So go into your first floor group. I'm going to double click into that. And we're just going to trace some lines so that we isolate this portion here as its own separate surface. So I'll start to trace along here until that's its own surface and push-pull it down 6 inches. Just a little bit more of a gradual stair there. Let's see, do I have an extra wall created there? Let me turn off or an extra line. Well, yeah, that's because my floor is separate from my walls. That's okay. Okay, last step, number 11, we'll create the openings for the doors and windows. Very similar to last week. So within your wall group and drawing on the face of the walls, locate the starting points of your doors by creating guidelines for the width using the inference engine to align with the plan. And then all of the doors are going to be 7 feet tall. And then we'll use the line tool to trace over those guidelines. So let's start with the doors. Let me turn off a few things here so we can see inside of our model. Let's see here, I'll turn off the roof. I'll turn off the second floor. Let me put my CAD level 1 plan back on. There we go. That should be enough to help me see here. I'll start with the front door, so double click into your exterior wall group. Use the tape measure tool to create some guidelines that align to the door. And it's going to be 7 feet tall. Use the line tool to trace over those guidelines. Find your intersections, nice and accurate. push pull that surface through to open it up. Okay. As you can see, I still have a portion here. I'm just going to go ahead and erase those. There we go, so it's nice and clean. We'll do that to this bedroom door. So the bedroom door is inside of the interior walls. So I'm going to need to switch my active group to the interior walls. Tape measure, bring that guideline across. Seven feet tall. Line tool to trace over all of that. And push pull it through. We've got a bathroom door as well that's in the interior walls group. Looks like not all my dimensions are super accurate, so just use the inference engine here to align to those widths. And push pull. Oh, I forgot to trace over it. Boop. And push pull through. Okay, one more, the back door. That's back in the exterior wall group. Create that one. Oh, come on. Help me go where I want to go. There we go. Create a line there. And again, 7 feet tall. Tracing over. And push pull through. Gonna have to erase these extra lines too. There we go. Alright, and let's do the same thing for our windows. Oops, I just noticed this extra line. I just like my surfaces to be nice and clean. I'm going to go ahead and delete all those guidelines now so that they don't start to confuse me. Go to edit and delete guides. Okay, and then for our windows, this is where we might need to turn that X-ray mode back on so that we can actually see where the windows are placed. So you can go up to View, Face Style, and X-ray, or remember the same can be achieved under Styles, Edit, Face Settings, and X-ray, whichever way you'd like to get there. Now we can see where those windows are. Okay, and then for the head heights and the sill heights, you'll want your PDF open so you can see where those occur. I'm going to start with the front elevation here. So this window at the first floor is 1 foot above the first floor, and then it's 2 feet tall. So double click into your exterior wall group so that we can edit those walls. Create some guidelines to find the width of the window. And it was 1 foot above for the sill, 2 feet in height. And we can trace over that. I'm going to use the rectangle tool to find those intersections and push pull that surface through. There it is. Okay. And I've got another one on this front elevation at the second floor. So that's going to be 3 feet above the second floor and then also 2 feet tall. I'm going to delete those guidelines real quick so that they don't confuse me. And I need my second floor AutoCAD turned back on so that I can find the location of that window. Tape measure, create the guideline, and another one. It's a little bit difficult to see, but we'll find it. And then from the second floor, we should be able to use this AutoCAD line here. And we said it was 3 feet above, and an additional 2 feet above. Okay, trace over that section and push pull it through. Is it going to find the back face for me? It's being a little difficult, so I'm going to orbit myself around and just align it to that back face. That should push it through. Okay, let me turn off X-ray mode real quick just so that I can take a look. Nice. Go ahead and delete those guidelines. And let's swivel around to the back. We've got 2 more windows. Oh, I forgot that little window. Okay, I got that little window. That one's sill is also 1 foot above the first floor and in line with the top of the door, so total of 6 feet tall for the window. The head is going to be at 7 feet. Let me get back over here, turn my X-ray mode back on. Yeah, that little guy. Okay, get back into my exterior wall group. Create my guidelines. Aligning to each side, and the sill is 1 foot above the first floor. Did that get created? I don't see it. Uh-oh, did I go back? I don't know. Let me try again. Oh, yep, that's on the green. That's not the blue. There we go. Or remember, you can use those arrow keys to help you find the axis that you're looking for. So 1 foot above, and then another 6 feet above that one. So it should be in line with the top of your door. Trace over it. And push pull it through. Okay, now let's head over to the back side. We've got another window next to the back door, as well as a couple of windows on the back wall. So let's start with this one. Again, 1 foot above, 6 feet in line with the top of the door. I'm still in my exterior wall group. Create some guidelines. One foot above, another 6 feet above, and trace over, push pull. Again, I'm having a hard time finding that. That's okay, I'll swivel around and align it to the back face of the wall to push it through. And then we've got 2 windows on this back wall. Tape measure tool. Find that edge. And what was this one at? That one is again, same thing, 1 foot above and 6 feet. Nice. 1 foot above for the sill. 6 more feet for the head. Make sure you find that right intersection. And push pull. Swivel around. There it goes. And we've got another one above it, I believe. Yep, it's the same width. So I'm going to keep those guidelines there for the width. And let's check out the height. 1 foot above the second floor, 6 feet tall. Nice. So let's start at my second floor. Can use those AutoCAD lines to determine where that is. Up 1 foot and another 6 feet. Trace over. Make sure you get that intersection. Sometimes it might try to grab something else. And push pull it through. Okay, I'm going to return the X-ray mode. And I'm going to delete my guidelines. Just about done. Let me make sure the things that I want turned on are on. The things that I don't want are off. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my CAD lines. I don't need those anymore, but I do want my roof. Let's turn my second floor on first, make sure that that turns on, and my roof. And that's where we're going to end this week. Next week we'll keep on adding to it. We'll eventually get some casework in there for kitchen cabinets and counters, and we'll get doors and windows and other furniture pieces in there, as well as play with some materials. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully we've learned from last week. We're kind of just repeating, but do let me know if you run into any struggles, and we'll leave time at the beginning of class next week so that we can go over any questions. All right, thanks everyone. Have a good week.